evening, fellas. Excited for another episode. Very disappointed that players are skipping OTAs. I was advocating so hard for it, thinking they would be grateful for them instead of strictly virtual.
I mean, this is something that we kind of knew was coming down the tracks, right? Like, it's kind of like people understanding now that maybe I don't have to go down to work 5 days a week down at the office. Like, maybe one of the days, some of those meetings can be virtual, right? We're not wasting our times. And so this is something that has been, it feels like an inevitability for a bit. I mean, you can be a little bit disappointed for the Broncos specifically. I mean, this is a team that's a really young offense. Obviously, if Drew Lock is going to elevate his game, he needs all the reps and practice with his teammates that he can get. But I mean, these guys are going there and they're leveraging right now that the product last year was not terrible. Granted, penalty calls were down across the league, and maybe that's something the league wants to do in general going forward. You know, maybe I enjoyed the product last year. So yes, it's kind of a bummer, but this is the vets using their influence to kind of push against this. And it's not going to just be the Broncos, Seahawks. And I think the Buccaneers literally just came down the tracks as well, which I think is kind of funny because a lot of people were saying, oh, like this, Tom Brady wouldn't do this. Here we are. The Buccaneers are going to do this as well. So I think this is just a next phase in player empowerment. And I get that it's a change of the guard and coaches wouldn't like, coaches don't like it, but it's a players league, folks. So the players got the power. They're going to continue to leverage it. And obviously, hopefully the league will change a little bit and you can have like these volunteer workouts where like Drew Lock's getting the guys together, whatnot, or whoever the quarterback is. But things are changing. I think things are going to change. It's kind of a bummer for some folks, but I just think this was an inevitability and the Broncos are on the forefront of it.
Yeah, we got Tyler coming in here. Got to get right to it. Skipping these practices is selfish, childish, and pathetic. Sorry, guys. I'm torn on this because, one, especially for the vets, OTAs doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, probably the most you're getting out of them is just getting to know some of the new teammates, getting some of that team camaraderie. I'm not saying that word right, but camaraderie. There we go. But those are the kind of things that you're probably getting out of this more so than actually like learning the offense, going through those kind of motions. I would hope that whoever the quarterback is and the wide receivers and tight ends and running backs, that they find different times throughout the summer to get together and work on some of those things. You're going to get more out of that than I think you are going to these OTAs. They kind of amp up. Usually these first ones that we have, it's really limited on what they can even do at these. So yes, it is a little disappointing. Like I said, it's a young team. This could be a very big benefit for them. Just in that, like I said, just getting to know each other, getting to spend time. That could be big for them. But beyond that, there's just not a whole lot of benefit to these. So I think teams are figuring out why have them force these players to come back. The players too, when we can let them have a little more freedom with some of this and then amp up when we need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer, but I really think, and the thing is, I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I do think it's maybe a little bit disingenuous with, blaming what's going on in the world for the reason. I think this is just jumping at it because of the circumstances of the league right now, right? Like, who was it? Jason Tretter, who was saying like this is coming down the tracks as well for no OTAs, who's the head of the NFLPA. And these team leaders are, they don't want to do these anymore. They don't see the benefit in them. Obviously, there is some benefit, but you're hoping that they can supplement it. And, if this is the real eventual reality of how offseason programs are going to go, who are going to be the innovators, right? Because there's things are when things change, there is room for other teams and the smart teams to get a competitive edge. So what can the Broncos do if this is going to become the reality to position themselves at a point of strength where they can get an advantage versus these other teams? Because I know the Broncos are the first to break it, but I really would be shocked if half the league or more doesn't do that right now. We got lazy Kozad coming in here. Some of the teams have a lot of players with off-season incentive monies, probably won't hold out. And I think that's going to be true for the Broncos as well. I think the guys like Von Miller, Drew Lock, Graham Glasgow, perhaps, there'll be some guys who will be in because their contracts are specifically linked to these volunteer OTAs. So there will be some there, but I still think this was bound to happen. There's been whispers of this for a bit. So here we are.